You know, if you were to ask me, Stephen, of all the things you have done in your career, what you consider to be your most important role, without any hesitation, my response would be being a teacher. Because being a teacher is where my heart is. It's my passion. Many of you know that I spent the largest portion of my career in the classroom teaching university students. But even as my career has shifted to consulting and public speaking, people still tell me that I act more like a teacher than I do a motivational speaker or a consultant. I so far prefer teaching over speaking because I can interact with people, and I love that interaction. I suppose teaching is just ingrained in me. It is part of who I am. I love it and hope you love it as well. While it takes great talent to be able to convey a fact or to teach a kindergartner a new word, the interesting thing is that seldom is a fact or a technique what a child or even an adult remembers about a teacher who they singled out as being a positive influence in their life. Think about that. When people single out a teacher as being a positive influence, generally they mention one of two things, often both. One, they single out some meaningful lesson of life that teacher taught them. Two, they identify how that teacher made them feel good about themselves, their feelings of self-worth. You just think about a teacher who positively influenced you. Ask yourself, why did I select that teacher? Chances are that either they taught you an important lesson about life, or they did something that affirmed your feeling of worth and your potential. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People contain basic lessons for life. They're based on universal, timeless principles. I did not invent them, and they've been around for ages. I simply identified them and put them into a sequential order. As I see it, these habits, these fundamental, timeless, universal principles are basic elements of all kinds of success. Common sense, though, is just not common practice. So I am excited to see you teaching them to students at a young age. They are basic principles, basic lessons that will help them in every aspect of their life and enhance their feelings of self-worth and their sense of their true potential. I am convinced that as you teach these principles to young students, you will be creating a generation of leaders, one child at a time. I challenge you to work from the inside out. In other words, start with yourself. No matter how many lessons you teach, the most lasting lessons you teach will always be those you teach through modeling, that is, through your example. Though you will be provided some resources for teaching the habits to young people, your best lessons by far will come from you, from your own experiences, your own victories in life. Eventually, they will begin to identify the habits on their own in various lessons, books, and activities, even before you are able to spot them. They will say things as profound around the habits as anything you've ever heard from an adult. It is amazing for me to see that. You will hear stories from parents about how the children are applying them at home. You will notice positive changes in their behavior in the classroom. In that process, you will literally enable hundreds of students to discover the gifts they have inside. You will help them find their identity, their full sense of worth and potential. And that, in my mind, is what leadership and teaching is all about.